Welcome to Week 14 of the NFL, and in this Need to Know, we're talking about quarterbacks. There's tons of good options at quarterback this week, so I don't think anyone will be overly chalky. The three guys I think will have double-digit ownership on both sites are Drew Brees, Jameis Winston, and Deshaun Watson. Since there's obvious reasons to play these guys, let's talk about some reasons you could potentially fade them. Everyone knows about Drew Brees' home and away splits, but did you know the Buccaneers' defense has some of the most drastic splits in the league? While they're allowing nearly 40 points a game on the road, they're giving up less than 20 a game at home. And it's plausible that the Saints' defense stifles the Bucs' offense, putting a limit on Brees' ceiling. Which brings us to Jameis Winston, who's been a big fantasy producer as a starter, but still faces the risk of getting benched mid-game if things go bad. Over the last month, the Saints defense has held opponents to under 13 points a game and 1 touchdown pass a game. Is old Jimmy Crablegs here really the guy to break this defense open? Come on. And my case against Deshaun Watson hinges on his low passing volume and lack of a deep threat. Watson has over 24 passing attempts just once in his last 7 games, and he hasn't broken 240 yards in that entire stretch. The Texans called the second fewest percent of passes in the league, and since Will Fuller went down a month ago, there's nobody in that receiving core to stretch the field. For pivot quarterbacks, there's a half dozen guys that are playable, but the 3 I like most are Ben Roethlisberger, Aaron Rodgers, and Pat Mahomes. Now, I'll admit, Big Ben could be more chalk than pivot with his dream matchup against an Oakland defense that's allowed a league-high 29 passing touchdowns. Some stat guys have pointed out that Ben's home and away splits are less drastic in afternoon games. And with James Conner out, the Steelers could be extra pass heavy. But I do think Roethlisberger could be underowned because of his splits, concerns over a blowout, and everyone getting Steelers exposure through running back Jaylen Samuels. Next is Aaron Rodgers, who also has a great matchup with a Falcons defense that's allowed 25 passing touchdowns on the season. The Packers have the slate's 5th highest team total, the projection sites love him, and Rodgers strikes me as a very spiteful guy. So I predict he balls out extra hard this week just so everyone knows Mike McCarthy was the problem. Then we have Pat Mahomes and the league's best offense facing off against the Ravens and the league's best defense. I could throw all kinds of stats at you about how good the Ravens' D is, and it's true that Mahomes was mediocre against the pair of top 10 passing defenses he faced earlier this season. But the Chiefs have a 30-point team total, Mahomes has 27 touchdown passes in the last 7 games, and he could go under-owned due to matchup. I'm buying here. With so much value at running back this week, I don't think the cheaper quarterbacks will have much ownership at all. I'm not sure I'll actually play them, but a couple of contrarian options I like are Josh Allen and Baker Mayfield. While the ceiling and floor are miles apart, the last 2 weeks have proven that Josh Allen is always playable in tournaments. He has 22 rushing attempts for 234 yards in those games, and while he remains an inaccurate passer, part of that is because he's taking a huge amount of deep shots for a rookie quarterback, the second most ever after Deshaun Watson's rookie year last season. And as for Baker Mayfield, there's a lot going his way this week. He's 2 weeks removed from his best game, but 1 week removed from his worst, meaning recency bias will have most people off him. But we know the big ceiling is there. The Panthers' pass defense is a disaster that's allowed 27 passing touchdowns. And with the Browns as small underdogs, I expect plenty of attempts for Baker. Hell, even in his bad game last week, he threw for nearly 400 yards. That's it for quarterbacks, but if you want to hear about who to pair them with this week, then check out our videos on receivers and tight ends.